what they're looking for, because it was going on the premises of sex trafficking. They're looking for pictures of girls that may appear to be underage.
It's breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. Everybody's ever adopted Sandra Bullock. I adopted you because I felt that you could, enjoy also having a black parent to take care of you and help you out. So,
I was around them, and people was like Suge even said that Puff is different now. You understand? When he went to California, man, that's a whole nother stuff, man. Dudes in New York wouldn't even, he probably was doing a little of that stuff right there in New York around people and things like that, but he knew who to do that around. You understand what I'm saying? He knew who to do shit like that around. And when you don't have no conversation, he said it before, he don't know how to talk to women. He don't have no conversation for Jennifer Lopez. I seen him, I was there when they had conversations. She would say some fly shit to him. You know what the perfect day would be with me and you, just sitting out here, eating, just sitting out here, having a light lunch, drinking some wine, and just talking and talking and talking. She would say stuff like that to him. You know what I'm saying? And this nigga be looking like he's stuck on stupid. So I've seen him have conversations. He would say to Wolf and them, yo, man, I don't know how to talk to girls. But when you got that kind of money, you shouldn't have to know how to talk to girls.
Diddy ordered the $1 million hit on Tupac.
Puffy Combs and Zip and the Southside Crips were all connected.
I think that these guys probably went to Puffy and said that they can really, they can take care of the situation.
But this is all Puffy doing. Yeah.
We're not even going to go there, with all due respect.
After Pac got killed, Puffy gave Zip $1 million that was supposed to be handed over, and Zip ended up keeping it.
People are noticing some more skeletons in Sean Diddy Combs' closet from decades past. This on the cusp of possible pending criminal charges amid the mounting legal woes and sexual assault lawsuits against the rapper, record producer, and music executive. Combs has now been accused of threatening to kill a magazine editor nearly 30 years ago.
Shy Diddy C is currently dealing with additional serious allegations and startling evidence, so his problems won't be over anytime soon. Has emerged, demonstrating that Did have apparently been threatening people with death to many individuals. Indeed, you did hear that. Appropriate threats of death.
Sean Combs allegedly threatened to kill former Vibe magazine editor Danielle Smith back in 1997. She says Combs told her that she would, quote, end up dead in the trunk of a car over a dispute regarding his cover story on the magazine known for chronicling black culture and black music. Well, the then editor-in-chief wrote this and more in a New York Times essay about Diddy and explains how the rap star was selected to be the cover star for the December 1997, January 1998 issue. This was following the death of Tupac and Biggie Smalls. And she details never before known secrets about Combs, including an account how after his cover photo shoot in Manhattan, which was set to be modeled after the 1978 film Heaven Can Wait, it would feature him on two covers wearing angel wings, with one angelic, the other with kind of a mischievous look. Well, a few days later, Combs apparently wanted to see the covers before going to press, but it wasn't the policy of the magazine to do such a thing. And after Smith told him no, she says there were rumors that he planned to force the magazine team to show him the prints. And as Smith points out, there was vague talk circling about Combs' other alleged criminal escapades, a possible beating at the bad boy offices, plus his reputation for ruffling feathers. Well, sure enough, she claims he shows up at her office. She explains that with the help of security and other staff members, she was able to make an escape. And according to Smith, Combs then called her the next day, and she says that's when he made the threat that he would, quote, see her dead in the trunk of a car, and also purportedly said, F you. Well, within 2 hours, and after calling her lawyers, she writes that Combs faxed over an apology. But it didn't quite end there, because soon after, Smith says a couple of servers had been stolen from the office. These were ones that housed the files for that particular issue. And she says a rumor went around that someone had let in movers to the building from Bad Boy. So, to talk about this, I am joined right now by criminal defense attorney Fred Perry, who's a friend of the show, hasn't been on in quite some time. I don't know, maybe been ignoring us? It's fine, it's fine. No, Fred, so good to see you. Thanks so much for coming down and talking about this. Such an interesting update. I mean, what do you make of it? And do you think it's going to factor in any way into this laundry list of accusations facing Sean Combs right now?
Great to see you, Jesse. Yeah, I mean, what jumps out to me right away is if this federal probe ends up in an indictment with certain charges that involve crimes of violence, whether they be, the sex trafficking that's been reported or any other crimes of violence, the prosecutor can reach back to 1998 and actually ask a judge to allow them to introduce evidence of a death threat from 1998, even though it's beyond the statute, even though it's never been charged. It's what's known as other crimes evidence that a jury can hear and make a decision based on whether or not they feel like there is a pattern in this guy's life of violence, death threats, shooting people, beating somebody up, a hallway video showing beating a girl up in the hallway. I mean, my first thought is this could come back to haunt him from 1998.
But isn't it also true they have to be careful about not just including any bad allegation, because it could be improper character evidence, right? I mean, there has to be some sort of connection to whatever purported charges there are, assuming there are charges on the horizon.
Hell of a thing. Former editor of Vibe magazine says Diddy issued a death threat, put it up full mass, over a cover.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
Now this is wild, all right? In addition to everything else, former Vibe editor-in-chief Danielle Smith recalls an alleged death threat and frightening encounter in the office with Sean Diddy Combs in a feature for the New York Times Magazine. Smith wrote that after a cover shoot of Combs for Vibe, this was back in 1997, the rapper requested to see the pictures before they were published. A request Smith vetoed because it went against the magazine's editorial policy. Combs allegedly threatened Smith, saying, quote, that he would see me dead in the trunk of a car, end quote, over not seeing the photos. Let's put a picture up again. I got to say this. For Ms. Smith to say this, she has significant credibility, okay? I'm president of a magazine, Rolling Out. It is against editorial policy to show somebody pictures, articles, etc. You don't do that, okay? So she was correct in the proclamation, and I'm sure Diddy was well aware, being who he was in 1997, already very familiar with the industry. When she held her ground, Ms. Smith wrote that Combs then allegedly stalked her at the Vibe office. Smith said Combs was later forced to apologize after she brought in her lawyer. But she added that for years later, she blanked out his appearance in her office and her being hustled out a back entrance to escape him. Meanwhile, Atlanta Black Star reports that Diddy's private jet landed in Berlin, fueling speculation that he might be preparing to flee despite efforts to keep his whereabouts unknown. Internet sleuths, they tracked him across the Atlantic. And I remember when this first came out, we're going to put up some of these flight logs. So publicly available flight tracking data shows a Gulfstream 5 jet registered to Love Air LLC. And this is in connection to one of his names, Brother Love, all right? So Love Air LLC landed in Berlin, Germany. This was on July 9th. The site's data shows the aircraft took off from Hector International Airport in Fargo, North Dakota around 2:07 a.m. and then landed in Berlin. And this was at 10:06 p.m. that same day. And you see the log here. It's a lot of travel within basically 1.5 days, okay? It's unclear who, if anyone, was on board the flight. This could have been a decoy of sorts. The Bad Boy Records founder is not known to publicly have business or personal associates in European country, aside from a concert he performed in Berlin in 2007. There is little that ties the embattled celebrity to the country, let alone this popular nightlife scene. Amid the ongoing undoing of his decades-long legacy, social media users have speculated that he is plotting an escape. This will be one of the absolute worst escape plots in the history of escape, given everybody knows where the hell you are on the plane because of the flight log. Now, Diddy faces multiple lawsuits. It's a lot. Alleging sex trafficking, sexual assault, and abuse. We all saw the video of the abuse against his now ex-girlfriend, being girlfriend. The latest, the 10th since November 2023, claims former adult film star Audra English was coerced into work at one of his infamous Labor Day fight parties, as they would call them. English claims she worked as a go-go dancer at two of Diddy's events before he allegedly drugged and forced her into sexual acts with guests in 2004. She accuses Diddy of grooming her for an organized sex trafficking ring he allegedly participated in. His attorney responded to the filing with a statement to The Independent, quote, "No matter how many lawsuits are filed, it won't change the fact that Mr. Combs has never assaulted or trafficked anyone. We live in a world where anyone can file a lawsuit for any reason and without any proof. Fortunately, a fair and impartial judicial process exists to find the truth. And Mr. Combs is confident he will prevail against these and other baseless claims in court." They also called the claim of his abuse baseless as well. Okay, we saw the video and saw his apology. Let's put it up.
Nevertheless, Diddy's name has already been connected to similar accusations. According to these whispers, there have been reports of a shadowy arrangement involving Diddy and Eric Zip for years. It is believed that Diddy gave Eric $1 million to arrange Tupac Shakur's death.
Well, in fact, there was the rumor that after Pac got killed, Puffy gave Zip $1 million that was supposed to be handed over, and Zip ended up keeping it. And I remember when I interviewed TK Kirkland, who was actually roommates with Zip at one point. They were that close. He actually said, yeah.
The feds said that too.
He said that actually happened. Well, the story that has circulated was that after Tupac got killed, Puffy allegedly gave the money,
I heard,
to Zip.
Yes.
And Zip was supposed to give the money to Keefe and them.
Yes.
But he never gave the money to him.
But thank God he never gave him the money, right? Think about it. If he gave the money, Puffy will be in prison now, money for hire, a murder for hire. So thank God, it's just a true story. I'm not saying yes or no, but if he would have gave them the money, it'd have been a murder for hire and Puffy would be locked up.
The FBI said he's a dirty.
Yeah, and he even said that, like, in retrospect, that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to Puffy. By Zip stealing the money, now Puffy isn't connected to it, or else it would have been like a murder for hire or something. You know what I'm saying?
The FBI said Zip.
So the FBI told you
he was a dirty.
So the FBI told you that Zip kept that money as well.
They said Zip's a dirty. Everybody cross you. You're the last one to know every thing. Even lawyers, your friends, everybody can cross your ass. You just don't know. Even the dudes you was riding in the car with every day, like a LoJack. Like, what the?
Well, I mean, like I said, Zip had a history of ripping people off.
Yeah, he never ripped me off.
Well,
otherwise he wouldn't have.
Did he technically do? I mean, if he kept the money that supposedly.
True.
So actually, he ripped you off for $1 million.
Yeah. If that's what happened, yeah. They sure said it. The FBI said that. The people down, U.S. attorneys, all of it. They said that. Zip's a piece. They said he's a piece. But I didn't ever know that he got no money. But they said he got it.
Yeah.
Well, Gene Deal said he got it too.
Oh,
Kirkland,
really?
Everybody's,
Puffy and Eric Von Zip. You was telling me before the interview that you wanted to speak about their relationship and clarify some things, right?
Well, the thing about it is that Puff used to say that Zip was his uncle. You understand? Puff used to say that Zip was his uncle, and people trying to say that Zip worked for Puff father. Zip ain't never worked for Puff father. Puff father wasn't that big for Zip to be working for him. Freddie Myers ran that whole area over there. From 110th Street all the way up to 118th, 23rd, that's Freddie Myers' block. Those was not Puff father's block. So people don't know what they talking about when they say Zip used to work for his father. That's some bull. And I told you the story that Freddie Myers told us about that. Now, the relationship with Zip and Keefe D, whenever I saw them, we were either partying or they were gambling, shooting dice. 20, 30,000, 10,000 in the game. You know what I'm saying? They throwing licks for 20, 10, 15. They were shooting dice for big money. You understand? I told y'all that one time when Tretch came in there with Arnell Simpson on his arm, and he took all their money. Tretch was my boy. I was like, yeah. And when he walked out the door, Big Gene hit him up. Tretch always looked out. Hit him up. So now, I never, ever seen Keefe D and Puff have a conversation about doing anything to Tupac or Suge Knight. There's only one Crip, and I said this before, that I ever heard to say somebody, and that was D-Mac. And that was a dude who worked at Sean John, that he was a Crip out there in California. And that night when I told them somebody gonna come kill us, he said, yo, we lock and load together. We lock and load together. I said, I don't see none of you niggas locking nothing. I don't see none of y'all loading nothing. So now, I never seen them have no conversation about doing nothing to Pac or nothing to Suge, Keefe D, or none of them. You understand what I'm saying? Only seen D-Mac say that. Yo, I got these dudes out there. I told Puff I got to. Yo, he never said it around Puff. He said it around us. Showing off, I guess. So now, when Pac got murdered, I don't know how much time had elapsed, but me and my man was sitting on the block on 112th Street. Zip had came around in the new, I don't know what was it. I don't know if it was the Aston Martin. I don't know if it was the Rolls. It was something. I forgot the car. And that's when he showed us a check for $1 million. And said he got it from Black Ground Records, Barry Hankerson and Jimmy Henchman. Showed us the check, put it right. Said $1 million? When you own a record company, that's what's going into my mind. That's what I'm thinking. Then when this came out years later and said they gave Zip $1 million for that he was supposed to be giving Keefe D them for the Tupac thing, I'm like, I seen that check. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know for sure, because what he said was he got it from Black Ground Records, for selling Black Ground Records. So now, if you want to tie it into that, then you do the investigation. You prove why he got the $1 million and who gave him the $1 million, who cashed the $1 million check. Because they still got a bookkeeping for $1 million somewhere. No matter when they gave it to them, when they did it. You got it?
I got it.
So now, when I seen him, it was always just partying, fun and game and stuff like that. And gambling.
Even sure Tupac's mother has been waiting for these reports. Instead of dismissing the claims, Mo stated that he demanded a full investigation, stressing the need of addressing this troubling chapter.
Tupac feel about Puffy after he got shot at Quad Studios? Because I know he felt like, you know, Puffy had something to do with it, or he knew what was going to happen.
He felt like he was set up because he thought he was amongst friends. And when it went down, he was surrounded by a bunch of people we thought was his friends.
And he felt like Puffy, he knew what was going to happen, and he didn't give him a heads up?
Well, yeah. I mean, he saw C's up in the window like, come up, come on, come up. And everybody drawing him in. You know, come to the studio. You know what I mean? And Bad Boy had saturated the whole that neighborhood. That they were in the studio, multiple rooms in the studio, and they were shooting a video around the corner. So Bad Boy and their allies had covered that whole neighborhood. They were there, you know. Pac wasn't, there wasn't nothing for Pac to fear because we were supposed to have been amongst allies. You know, so something happened. Somebody knew.
Yeah, I can see how Pac felt like they had something to do with the setup, man. But speaking of Puffy, right, how do you feel about the rumor that Puffy, he gave a guy named Eric Von Zip a check for $1 million to give to Keefe D to kill Tupac?
I'm familiar with the story. I'm familiar with the dude. My man Big Psych, rest in peace, used to know that dude.
So you met Von Zip before. So how does that make you feel, man? Somebody that you met, and I'm sure that he knew that she was Tupac's brother. How does that make you feel knowing that he's the one that provided Keefe D with the gun to kill Tupac?
I mean, it's all it was a setup. It was a plot to murder my brother. I feel about it. I don't know that, but I ain't got no love for none of them. You know, straight up. It sounds like a typical murder plot. See, but considering who that guy is to Puffy and to Keefe D, for it not to be addressed is weird. We will see. My homie Big Psych knew him. You know, he used to be at some of them basketball games where the dude was, you know, putting up a case of champagne, case of Moet on the ball game. You know, he was a big, you know, big spender, flashy dude. Yeah. No, he would be out on the West Coast quite often.
Did you and Big Sight know he had any connection to Pac?
Not at that time. Before Psych passed, we, you know, he mentioned that he knew who he was, but dude was already dead. Psych was a Crip. Psych was an IVC Inglewood Village Crip. You know, and he hung around. Psych would be around other Crips. So that's how, you know, in that is how we got to meet dude, or knew who dude was, but I didn't know him personally.
I did spend time with him. I know before he passed away, he was mad at Greg Kading for Greg writing about his book, Murder Rap. Said, Zip, you're talking to me now. I know a lot about you. I gotta tell you a funny Zip story, because for the viewers that know who Zip is, Zip was so-called like Puppy's like uncle, like his he godfather, like his guy he kind of like, I guess, looked up to at the time. And I had Zip picked up by the FBI when he was coming across the bridge from Atlantic City and New Jersey into New York. And I called my friend Kevin Aquinas and said, Kevin, do me a favor. Zip's coming back in the Dock Navigator. Pick him up for me. Bring him to my office. At that time, I was working in the Southern District. And Zip came in and he said, yo, man, Parker? Yeah, that's me. this ain't the police station. What am I doing here? This is the federal court. I said, yeah, that's where I work. Come on in, I gotta talk to you. And yo, he was nervous as hell. And he was in there, man, we were talking, and I said, Zip, let me tell you something, bro. I know everything about you. I know about the Black Navigator, I know about you in Atlantic City, about the girls, all these fine girls you were with, everything. He's like, yo, you know so much about me, man. I said, I know a lot about you. But I just spent several hours with him because I had open warrants on him. He had old warrants that he never returned on. So I had to arrest him for those. But I asked him about the thing with Tupac, and Zip couldn't say anything. And for everybody that knows out here, Zip didn't snitch. He didn't say anything. He never talked. He said he couldn't tell me about what went on, which I respected. He couldn't tell me, but I did spend time with him. I know before he passed away, he was mad at Greg Kading for Greg writing about his book, Murder Rap. And he said, Parker, some of those things are not true. And I said, Zip, you're talking to me now. I know a lot about you. And he said, yeah, but those things, some of the things he said is not true. It's this, it's that. I said, well, you know, he wrote a book, and obviously he had to be vetted before he could put it out. You know, but Zip and I always had a relationship where we weren't friends, but if he needed to talk to me about something, he felt comfortable enough to do that. Right. You know, he had bodyguards with him too whenever he went out. But he was always, like I said, I treated him as a gentleman. He always said, you treated me the best out of anybody. You treated me like a gentleman. You weren't hard on me, put me in handcuffs. He did have a lot of beautiful women that came to see him because I let him take his property, his jewelry, because I had to take him to central booking and put him in the system. Right. And then when he had this attorney, I remember the DA was like, Derek, you know who this guy Zip? He's got one of the most powerful attorneys in New York. And the DA was nervous, the DA at the time. He was the chief of one of the bureaus. And I said, well, you know, he's a well-known figure. He's got ties to LA, New York. He's been around, this guy. And it was just funny because the guy was very nervous about him. But, you know, he passed away with a lot of secrets.
How you feel about the footage that went viral of Diddy water rafting in Wyoming? You know, when that went viral, man, that had a whole lot of people mad.
No, nobody should be mad. He should enjoy himself, brother, before he go to jail. Because he might not see those white water rafting again. He might not see none of the stuff. And people might think that, you know, I'll be happy to see that. I don't really care. I really, yo, bro, I really don't care. But he should enjoy himself before he get his just dessert. Because he did a lot of crazy shit to people around us. He did a lot of crazy shit, and he deserved to be wherever those people gonna put him at once they prove their case.
So when you see those videos of him having fun, you don't feel the type of way?
Nah, I just see I see him one day that I know for a fact he'll be behind bars. So it don't matter what he do now. Work out, you know, get your muscle game, get your knuckle game up. You understand? Do what you gotta do, because behind those bars is a whole different life. It's a whole different thing.
Damn, you telling him to get his knuckle game up?
Yeah. To beat off the guys that he don't want him to beat on him. No Diddy. Listen here, man. When people know they about to go away, they're gonna enjoy life the best they can. All the things that was on their bucket list, all the things that they know that they wanted to do, but may not have time to do it when they get out, or they might be too old when they get out, they go ahead and do them. So he's supposed to go out and have fun. Don't think he don't know. You pay those lawyers to know. Those lawyers know what he's gonna beat, and those lawyers know what he ain't gonna beat. So when you look at it, they already told him, yo, we might could beat this, but you're gonna do time on this. We might could beat that right there, and you're gonna do a little time for that. You max it up together, let's see what we can get you. Let's see, can we get you 10, 15, 20, and not the life, like some of the people behind them got.
You know, Cassie, her lawyer came out, man. She was mad too, man. Like when that video came out of him water rafting, yeah, man, she was heated about that, man. She came out with a statement.
Well, I think that this being in the men's shower in the prison system, The shower probably ain't as hard as that white water rafting is, but it'll be a lot of hard things in there that'll remind him of what he was doing on the outside. Bruh, dude has a right until he's been proven guilty to enjoy his life. You understand? Cassie got her 30 million, you know what I'm saying? Go enjoy your life, but it could never pay enough for what she probably went through, or somebody putting their hands on them and doing the shit that they was doing and drugging them up and changing who they was. You understand? That happens in life. I've seen it in a lot of different cases. You understand? Girls will get with a certain guys and they drug them out, they put them out. You know, now she has still a chance to try to get some normalcy in her life and get those nightmares away. You understand? But this dude doing all that stuff like that, that just goes to show me that he knows he's going away, bro. That's all. Never seen him on a bike before then. You never seen him on a boat riding a whitewater rafting before then. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't doing none of that stuff until recently that we know of. He might be jumping out of parachute, jumping out of an airplane with a parachute.
About this extremely serious charge, please let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please press the subscribe button so that you don't miss any future ones. Until then, family, keep it real.